All right, we're going to do another Razor Sharp podcast, and I've tried recording this one several times, and it never came out at really the length or pace that I wanted. So this will be, I guess, take 5, unfortunately. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on Podbean, please subscribe, but also subscribe to me on BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey so that you can get the full uncensored show and you can get alerts so that you know when the latest material is coming out. This will also appear on Substack, I hope. Anyway, so we're talking today about the Durham probe and the recent news that John Durham had revealed that the lawyer indicted last year, Michael Sussman, who was hired by the Clinton campaign, was basically also receiving information that was illegally obtained from either the White House or Donald Trump properties. Now, why am I actually doing this topic and focusing in on it, even though it's a few days old? Well, I think that the Vanity Fair article that Hillary Clinton told people to read when asked about this is an excellent example of how media will lie by omission, will obscure facts, and will also misrepresent the truth in order to get people to disbelieve that they're actually hearing some very valuable news. So, what exactly am I talking about? John Durham revealed that there's an executive, he's called Tech Executive 1, named Rodney Joffe, who leaked information that was related to communications between the White House and other parties that could be termed as classified, but certainly is privileged, because we're talking about somebody who is a government contractor in Joffe, who is required to be essentially a custodian of public records, although those public records are classified until they're declassified. Now, this comes at a time when, of course, people are making a big deal, especially in the media. They're making a big deal about the Mar-a-Lago National Archives issue, which I think could actually be a major legal problem for Donald Trump. Regardless of whether you're a supporter of his, I think that if it is revealed that he did something illegal here, well, you have to think that the legal system as it is will throw everything at him that they can, and he could end up either paying a massive fine or going to jail. In either case, what happened with Rodney Joffe is an exhibit of what you could call spying by a civilian on a government entity, on the White House, because Joffe shared information regarding the presence of Russian-made cellular devices in the White House vicinity during the Obama administration, and this was misrepresented to the CIA and other intelligence agencies as being something that occurred during the Trump administration. What the Vanity Fair article goes and says, it gives a number of deflections that it thinks will, the writer at least thinks will basically allay the fears of those who say that this was spying by the Clinton campaign against Donald Trump. One of the first things they say is that this is not really anything new, because we know that Michael Sussman received this information all the way back in October. Another thing that they say is that this isn't really spying because Rodney Joffe did not actually receive any money for what he supplied to Michael Sussman. And then another thing that they say, there were 4 points. I think I remember only 3, but there were 4 points. The other one being that the Clinton campaign had not really dealt with anything illegal regarding the Trump administration, because the information related to communications during the Obama administration. So all of these are actually fairly irrelevant. The first being, well, we already knew about this. So what if we already knew about this? Well, what they're saying is that they already knew that Michael Sussman went to the CIA and alerted them to what he thought was suspicious activity on the part of the Trump administration. Well, the question remains, even if we already knew that he did this, why was Michael Sussman, a lawyer for the Clinton campaign, receiving information regarding possible foreign contacts with Russia on the part of Donald Trump, which in the end turned out to be untrue, right? Why was he taking this information, getting it in the first place, and then going to the CIA with it in his capacity as a lawyer, right? If he was just a lawyer for the Clinton campaign and his role was only to handle legal matters on behalf of the Clinton campaign, should he not have sort of been refraining from getting information that was leaked to him? Especially this was after the election. So why would he continue to be involved in such a way? Another question that they bring up where they say, well, he wasn't really paid for it. Well, according to the Durham filing that is being referenced, the payment was not in monetary form. The payment was supposedly going to be a post within the Clinton administration that was to happen some point afterward by Hillary Clinton. That was what Jaffe was supposed to receive in return. So it's not really an argument when the payment was supposed to be in kind. So there you go. There's another argument falling flat by the Vanity Fair article. Another argument that we're going to debunk is the one that they say, well, it was really information from the White House under the Obama administration. Now, this is a major lie by omission. First of all, even if it was under President Obama, there is no reason that Michael Sussman and Rodney Jaffe should have been trading in information relating to White House communications under any president. It would be illegal in either case. But in this case, the reason that it's such a problem is that they're not reporting. The Vanity Fair article is not reporting, and neither is the New York Times article that it sources, the fact that there were two other buildings that were basically covered by this arrangement, this IT arrangement, where Jaffe gathered information and supplied to Sussman. There was Trump Tower and there was another Trump apartment building in Manhattan. So it's leaving out not just context, but important core information that would really show what the motive of this whole scheme was. It wasn't about spying on the White House just for the sake of spying on that. It was about spying on the person, on Donald Trump, the private citizen, and then Donald Trump as the president. And it occurred as well during Trump's transition period after he was elected up until he was inaugurated. And this would constitute the exact type of spying that Donald Trump was later alleging happened and that the media claimed was a myth. And the reason that the Vanity Fair article is coming out and trying to, quote unquote, fact check this issue is that whatever happens, no matter how bad things go in terms of the way the world is today, no matter how many times they're proven wrong in terms of their philosophy, people within the Democratic Party can never, ever, ever admit that they did something that was illegal and unethical and blatantly tearing up the very foundation of government that we have. And that's really the problem here, that they know that they did something that was egregiously illegal, something that Richard Nixon, as the sitting president, ended up having to step down from office for, which was spying and surveilling an opposing candidate. They did to somebody who had already been elected, and they did so while compromising information that would normally be protected. And they used a government contractor in order to do that. So one of the reasons that I'm going over this is because you can see that the media is not keen on reporting this issue as it actually is. And the discrepancies that I'm highlighting between the official story and the real story are not so far that you would call them just a huge leap, right? They're basically, we're taking a story that has very simple facts, that a government contractor leaked classified information about the President of the United States, and he gave it to a political opponent who therefore used it in order to help start a federal investigation of that person. And what the media did was they basically used semantics in order to hide the core facts of the case that really are the reason that it is a news story, right? And they're trying to say, well, because of our semantical definitions of what happened here, this isn't really newsworthy, right? And then what they will say is they'll call people who called into question their characterization of what's happened conspiracy theorists, and they'll call them extremists and right-wing extremists and all the other epithets that they're normally giving. Let me be clear here. There are such things as conspiracy theories, and I don't even like to call them conspiracy theories, that in my opinion, they're not necessarily the most serious points of inquiry that we have. You have a lot of the issues that pertain to the JFK assassination. They're called conspiracy theories because at the time, and this is, I think, the only example I use because the previous times that I've tried to make this video, it took way too long, believe me. The JFK assassination was the genesis of the term conspiracy theory in America, because the media and establishment officials were saying, well, it's better for us to narrow the field of acceptable opinion rather than just allow these people to call into question our official narrative. So they started to say, well, if you are somebody who is digging too deep and trying to question whether JFK was murdered by the lone gunman, Lee Harvey Oswald, on November 22nd, 1963, you might be a conspiracy theorist. And all you're doing is you're engaging in some sort of subversive activity that undermines the confidence of Americans in their legitimate institutions. And the fact is that whether you believe or don't believe the official narrative on JFK, this tactic has worked to some degree. Yes, there are many Americans who don't believe that JFK was murdered by Lee Harvey Oswald in the manner I just described, because there are many theories and many very credible elements to those theories that show that yes, there could have been easily some sort of mafia plot to get revenge on JFK for his cracking down on organized crime, or Fidel Castro, or the Soviet Union, or the FBI, or the CIA, and insert whoever is your favorite theory. Now, that doesn't mean that I believe necessarily one theory over the other. There are ones, for example, that I think are stronger, and there are ones that I think have less foundation. But the important part is that your ability to cite any of these possibilities as a real alternative to the official narrative is constrained, because the government and other media entities have defined those ways of analyzing the issue as conspiracy theories. That's the way it's gone, and that's really the problem with looking at the media and trying to accept what they're saying uncritically. So I think that's where we're going to leave off. But please, I think, use this article and the way that I've analyzed it as sort of a model for how you can look at these sources and say, why are they trying so hard to tell me that what I'm seeing is not actually in front of my eyes? Why are they trying to tell me that something that is as clear as day is just a mirage when I can reach out and touch it? That's really the problem here. So please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to me also on BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. You can chip in to me at Subscribestar. That'll also be in the description. Subscribe to my newsletter on Substack, and find me on Gab, Getter, Minds, as well as on Truth Social soon. And I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.